Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Black in the Saddle. I hope you enjoyed that old YBE intro music, okay? Because it is making a comeback. I did a few episodes without it, and I didn't love it. And I made that music myself. So it's coming back. You can expect it on all future episodes. Let's get into today's episode. I am joined by Tiombe Vaughan. We met at the Black Equestrian Summer Bash, and she is absolutely amazing. She is an equestrian and an artist and a breed preservationist. She works on preserving the Spanish Barb horses. This is a mix between Spanish Mustang or colonial Spanish horses, and I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit more about that. But she's the owner of Falcon's Heritage Farm in Waldorf, Maryland, and she has focused her energy and her work and her passion on breeding and preserving these Spanish Barb horses through art and promoting and marketing the versatility of their breed. So enjoy this episode with Tiombe Vaughan, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, welcome back to another episode of Black in the Saddle. I am so happy to have Tiombe Vaughan here with me and recording this episode after meeting her in real life. That's usually not how these episodes work. Usually I'm recording first and then I eventually meet the guest in real life. So I'm just really excited that you were interested in joining me on the podcast today, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a big opportunity for me. Like, this has never been, never happened. So it's like a very, very good, like, big experience.
Well, good. I'm glad, and you should prepare for much more of it. But I know a little bit about your background, but let's let the Black in the Saddle family know a little bit more about what you do. Can you share where you're located, what kind of work you do, and how long you've been in horses or working with horses?
So I guess I'm from Queens, New York. So I was born in Queens, New York, and then we moved about when I was 6 years old. And my family's military, so it started that way. And then we just kept kind of like we went to Fairfax, Virginia, and then we moved here to kind of move with everyone. Because it looked like my mom's family was all moving to like Maryland, Virginia area. So we all moved down here to just stay near family. And my mom also thought it would give us more opportunities than just, Queens, New York City. Like in New York, it's or mainly like the Long Island area. So she was like, oh, they'll give them more opportunities, me and my brother. And that way we can kind of decide where we want to go from there. And so my decision being put into Charles County, Maryland is where we are now. So we're in Waldorf, Maryland. Is like just I saw the animals. I'm an animal lover. So I saw that there's many more animals to, go and see here. Like cows, sheep, goats. Like I've never seen them in person when I was in New York, so it was all like I guess like dream come true for an animal lover. And as an animal lover, I started in like the vet medicine. Went into the vet medicine side of things. And horses came in around I guess when I was like about 8 years old when my neighbor her daughter went to go take lessons, and my neighbor and my mom were both friends, and they were like, oh, we could take both of the girls, take both of you guys to go get lessons and see how you guys like it, and you can either stick with it or it was just kind of like an opportunity to do like after school extracurricular like activities.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas my friend, she didn't stick with it, I stuck with it because I already had the bug, I guess, to like I love animals. So I was like, oh, horses are amazing. So I stuck with it. And then now that we're in Waldorf, Maryland, I kind of like stayed, was going to become a vet. So I was going to become a large animal equine vet, and then kind of petered down just because funds are a thing. So petered
Mm-hmm.
down to vet tech. So I'm a vet tech now, with my doctor or our vet. That's actually she does mostly unfortunately like hospice like in-home euthanasia, but it's
Mhm.
nice to have like that opportunity for families to have the option, to have, the whole
Yeah.
in-home, like because it's like a much calmer environment,
Yeah.
much like quieter. You're not dealing with like, oh, you have a time limit, when you're in the clinic, you always have a
Yeah.
time limit. So it's
I don't
nice to
think
have in-home.
I don't
But
think
yeah,
I realized that you were a vet tech currently because
yes.
I don't know if you know that was my background also. Um
Okay.
so coming out of college, that's what I did before
Yep.
I got
Yeah.
into management. But that's really neat. So the the entry to horse so you do you're a technician for like home hospice. Is that
Mhm.
small animal?
Yes, unfortunately, I'm trying to get her because she has horses too. So I'm like, you can do it. Like, we can both do it together. I'll be your technician. I'll be there if like anything happens.
You know,
And she's like, no, I kind of want to stay in the small. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, darn.
I get it. I get it. A lot
Yeah.
of times we find that small animal is where the money is.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as taxing on your body. There's
Mhm.
not as much expense because you have more clients in a smaller radius. I completely
Yeah.
understand her hesitancy. But I'm curious to know when how do we get from 8-year-old Tiombe to I'm sorry, I don't even know how old you are now, but adult
Oh,
Tiombe.
32. I know.
Oh, me too. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get from 8-year-old Tiombe to adult Tiombe, 32-year-old Tiombe, who is now not only developing this homestead, but has a career that intersects art, horses, and medicine.
So I guess 8-year-old TMB, the dream was to be a vet. It wasn't really to go into art. Even though a lot of people, like all throughout like elementary school, middle school, high school, everyone's like, you should be an artist, you should be an artist. And I was like, no, I'm gonna be a vet because my mom's a nurse, so she's an army nurse. So she's like, you're gonna at least go into something that's gonna make you money. So go into medicine. She wanted me to be a nurse, but I was like, I don't like, you know, people, you know, I like animals more. So I was like, well, there's vets, you can be a veterinarian and
Mhm.
kind of have your own practice or be an associate vet and work with another clinic. But I was I guess the track was trying to be a vet. And so I went all throughout school trying to go up to vet school. And then it was like funds and also my math skills. Calculus above calculus is where I was hitting a brick wall. So I'm good science wise, but math is not my strong suit. So I was like, well, there's technicians and I can become a licensed tech and stay within the animals that I like. So there's actually I worked for Wolf Creek Equine over in Lothian, Maryland, and that was like my introduction to the large animal side of things. And I actually started large animal and then went into small animal. So
Mhm.
I was trying to be a vet, and then college was when I was like, oh, maybe I should tap into some of the art side of things.
Mhm.
And my dad's like, he's the artist, he's a musician, so he's like, oh, let her use her natural gifts. Like stop trying to force her in a box.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like, okay, fine, you can take like extra like credits for art if you want to.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I kind of like went into art classes, which of course I had already like I'm kind of self-taught. So going into art classes, it was so like I was already ahead of everyone.
Mhm.
So the teacher would be like, slow down, like follow directions. Like, they would be like, slow down, stop. Like I think I went art one and they didn't specify we didn't need to shade anything. So we were doing a still life, and it was like he just wanted us to do lines, but he didn't specify. So I started shading it. where, the still life, I started actually making it a still life. And he's like, no, no, you're ahead of everyone. Stop doing that and just do lines only. Which it helped, like, kind of discipline me a little bit. Just being self-taught, like, it helped with, like, disciplining me to know other techniques other than what I kind of, like, taught myself how to, like, blend colors and everything like that, and the shading and highlights. So that kind of started the whole, like, oh, I'm going to do, like, art, pet portraits. So I'll try doing pet portraits, I'll try doing horse portraits and offer commissions.
Mhm.
Back in, I think I was a senior in high school, and that's when my art teacher was like, you should do commissions, you should do murals, you should, like, go out there and, and try and find people that want, like, that authentic, like, artist work. So I tried doing that. So right now I don't really professionally have a web page. I need to get one up, but I have, like, a portfolio together of all my, like, my husband's actually helping me scanning everything
Mhm.
for me so that I can, like, put it on a web page.
Mhm.
Because most of it's, like, word of mouth. So I get, like, friends tell friend, tell friend, tell friend, and
Yeah.
that's how the art kind of goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I love about that is that you are clearly very experienced in pivoting, right?
Mhm.
Starting off one way and saying, "You know what?
Yeah.
I'm either not feeling it or this is not working for me or I'm either a little bit too far ahead, so let me dial back a little bit." How do you how did you go from, just this interest in animals to I am going to dedicate my time and resources and work to preserving the Spanish Barb horse. Like that is a very
Yep.
specific thing that you are doing, and going from a veterinary technician to that commitment and investing in homesteading and the sheep and everything like
Mhm.
that. That is quite the evolution. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yep. So I guess it all comes down to, like, I was looking into sustainability almost. Well, the Spanish Mustang part start with my gelding, my first owned horse, because I have leased horses. But Falcon's the one. Falcon Wind is his full registered name.
Mhm.
Falcon is the one who started all of that. But before that, it was, or I guess during that time, because I was also boarding. So I was boarding him and looking at what I wanted for the future. So I was like, what do we want for the future? That's sustainable, that would help feed my family, help kind of, like, give us that almost I guess independence. The independence to be able to have our own property and just have food available for, like, my parents are now elderly now. They're, like, in their coming now 70s. So so it's like I was kind of thinking, because I'm an elder sister, so I already, like, I act as if I'm the second mom of everyone.
As
So
an oldest as an oldest daughter, I get
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's like the eldest is the one who takes care of everyone. So it just ingrained in me. My family is, like, very tight knit, like, family. So they're like, oh, the next generation takes care of the older generation, but also the next generation. So
Mhm.
you're kind of, like, in between. And in my mind, I was kind of like, I want to be able to provide produce or provide meat if we need be, if we need to do that, if all, fails in the world, we can do that.
Mhm.
And the breeding the Spanish Mustangs, that came from just, I was competing with Falcon, so we've competed a training level eventing. We've done team penning before. He kind of was like my all rounder to try and figure out what discipline we like.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we've done, like, eventing, we've done the team penning, we've done dressage, we've done all, like, different things. I've even tried like the archery off horseback before with him,
Mhm.
and he
Mhm.
just took it in stride. Like, he was just like, okay, we're doing this today, and so that made me like, oh, we need to preserve that. Like, and so I'm going to find his family. And at the time, I was working for a warm blood breeder, and she was like, oh, you need to get into warm bloods, and like they're versatile enough. And I was like, it wasn't my cup of tea to have warm bloods.
Yeah.
So,
They're also big for no
and
reason.
yeah, they're a little tall for me. And that about that time was when I like self-preservation was kicking.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, these guys are shorter. If I fall, I'm not gonna, you know, break into a million pieces, you know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just, oh, I want to get these guys. And it started actually because I was like, oh, well, maybe I can do Iberian warm blood because that was also a thing back then, and now it's still a thing. But I was like, we can do Iberian warm blood, and then it kind of stays close to the breeding that Falcon is. He's the Spanish Barb with like standard bred, so it kind of made him a little more not taller. He's 14'3", so but everyone would say, "Is he a Morgan? Is he a Morgan?" You know, because he looks like a Morgan.
Hmm.
But I wanted to stay with the Iberian breeds, and so it would start with the trying to see if I could get an Andalusian or Lusitano mare to breed to warm bloods to kind of keep that Spanish like you know the Iberian lines.
Hmm.
And then I was like, actually, you know what? Because I was hearing from the person I got him from got me in contact with his breeder. So or the breeder of his sire. So I got to meet Sharon Sluice. I got to meet her. She's over in West Virginia. She
Hmm.
bred well, it was not his initial breeder. There was actually Deborah Tipton. She's the one who bred Wayward Wind. So that's Falcon sire. We tracked down pretty much who we could in the community of the Spanish Barb community, who had Falcon's bloodlines, and it was Sharon Sluice, who was pretty much had Falcon sire until he passed back in 2021. And so my option to breed him to a warm blood had already, already passed. And I was like, oh no, I missed my chance. But she was like, no, actually, you could get foals, from any of us. There's actually more breeders on the East Coast than you actually realize because I thought they were all out west. Like,
Hmm.
my thought was these are similar to BLM Mustangs. And she was like, no, no, they're different, completely different from the BLM Mustangs, though there are some wild kept strains out there out west in like Arizona, the sulfur Mustangs. They have like a high percentage of that Iberian bloodline. So she's like, there are those strains, but then the East Coast are more of the domesticated strains. So you
Hmm.
have the ones that were pretty much bred by like tribes or like cattlemen, or they were all bred here as like traveling horses to
Hmm.
get from point A to point B over the mountains, over Appalachia.
Yeah.
So they're very hardy. Like Falcon Sire was still hunter jump. He was doing hunter jumpers until about 27. So they're
Wow.
very, very hardy breed.
Yeah.
So that kind of like made me want to get into them too. They're more form to function, whereas like where you get too much in like into breeding and then you're breeding for something, but you're losing like temperament or you're losing like
Yeah.
how hardy the
Yeah.
horses, how good their feet are. You're losing things. Whereas this breed is more like bred by nature, and also like the people that bred them weren't trying to outbreed, what was nature had already intended them to be. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's a good point. That's a good point.
yeah.
And you telling that story reminds me of just earlier this week on TikTok. I was responding to someone's post about how do you decide what horse to
Mhm.
get. And I was saying for newcomers,
Yep.
you take lessons, you explore different disciplines, choose a discipline that you like, explore all kinds of horses within that discipline to figure out what, do you prefer a more forward horse? Do you need a more relaxed horse? Figure out what you prefer. Then, there's an option to lease a
Yep.
horse that's like what you prefer, and then you make a purchase. But
Yep.
It sounds like to me, which that is like the ideal scenario. That's not what I did. And it doesn't sound like that's what you did either.
Well, I
So,
took
yeah,
like the
talk to me
lessons,
about that. Talk to me about that because you got Falcon Win and you explored all different things. So share a little bit about how that happened.
yeah. So I guess I had lessons, and then the where I was riding, the barn owner was the person that pretty much was like, "Oh, she should ride this horse because she has a good seat," you know. So it was pretty much ride the more like more likely to buck you off, you know, the more spicy.
Hmm. It makes you a better
And
rider.
but it did like have me like I've ridden like Percherons, I've ridden like because they just had lesson horses of almost any breed. So she had like Percheron, she had a Belgian, she had Murai, she had, and this is like 13-year-old Tiombe, so I'm like little Tiombe with like the Belgians, and I got to ride Arabians for a while, and then like the was it the Arabian quarter horse crosses. So I got to see different breeds, but I never really picked one out of out of those guys. Where and then I've leased like from lesson barns, I've leased a little bit just like to get my hands on like that experience of ownership. So having like the experience of this is my responsibility and I have to take care of it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that helped a lot. Like my parents really wanted me to know before getting into it and then trying to do it all kind of blind, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And Falcon actually was we purchased Falcon from a family friend. So like it was my mom's, well, she calls her my aunt. She's not actually our aunt, but she's like our adopted aunt, you know?
yeah, yeah. Very
And
much
she
black
had
family
a
thing to
friend.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. She had a friend that was that had Falcon's mom, so the standard bred. So she was like, "Oh, you could come to our barn and see how you like her, and maybe you can, you know." And she was 18 at that time, which I was like looking for an eventer at that point too. And I was like, 18 is not the start
Not
of
to
you know an
start.
eventing career. Yep.
Right, right.
So I was like, we'll go down there just to see, you know, because it was my parents were like, I was excited, and this is me right after high school, so I'm like, I'm excited, like I finally get my own horse, you know. But then at the same time, I was like, 18 is a little older than what I would be looking for, and so we went there, and my parents were like, don't get like too excited and latch onto her, and then you force us into the sale, and then we have like this older horse, you know, and we're stuck with her.
Mm,
So my dad was like, if she doesn't feel like the one, then you can tell us, you know.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So tried her. Um she was the type that she's more woe than go. So she was like, we're gonna stand here and look at the clouds, and I'm like kicking her, like, let's go. And she's like, no, we're just gonna stand here. And I'm like, this is not
Yeah.
not gonna work for I need more go, you know, for eventing, for the jumps, and it just it just was not working.
Mm,
So my dad was like, well, this doesn't seem like it's working out. So you know, and the lady that Christine was the owner of Falcon's Dam. So she was like, oh well, she has two sons, you know.
now you tell
And
me.
so, yeah, she's like, she has two sons, one of which was already sold, but Falcon was the one that was in training to be sold. So, so she was like, we bought him at 11, which, like, at least he had, like, he was already broke to ride, you know, was already doing obstacles, like, because they were looking for him to be a trail horse. So
Hmm.
he was doing obstacles, he was doing, like, you know, going on trails. So he'd already had the desensitizing of, like, going on a trail and everything.
Hmm.
And then I get there and I try him out and he was just like amazing. Much better than his mom. He still was woe. Like he got his mom's, you know, temperament of more woe than go, but it wasn't as bad.
If you've ever felt like you were navigating the horse industry on your own, I want you to hear this. On November 6th and 7th, 2026, we're gathering in Greensboro, North Carolina for the Kinship Conference. This is a 2-day experience created for Black horse folks across every discipline. Kinship is about connection, mentorship, skill building, and honoring the stories that built this industry while creating real pathways forward. If you're looking for community, opportunity, and a place where you truly belong, the Kinship Conference is for you. Visit blackinthesaddle.com/kinship to learn more and to join the waitlist. Everyone has a story, and you deserve to tell yours. So you got your horse, you are, interested in veterinary medicine. You're still kind of pursuing that connection. And I'm curious, when does the homestead come into play? And because I mean, as a fellow horse owner, I know what it is, to find this horse that you are just like enamored with and, wanting to explore different disciplines with them and you just have a great time. There's that. And then I am going to work to preserve the breed of this angel of mine. There is a bit of a chasm in between those two things. So how do you get into conservation, and did you learn about it, or like was there this lens that veterinary medicine helped you like get there, or like how do we, because conservation is a big thing, and understanding the characteristics of a breed that you want to put forth in a time where we are having horses being shipped across lines everywhere because there are so many of them. It's a hard thing to commit to. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I guess the homesteading part of things was, I guess we got our farm first. That's why that's kind of what started it was my husband and I met him in high school. So he already knew I was a crazy horse girl.
Oh good. Oh good. We didn't have to train him up.
I know. At first he was like, what, why do you like horses? Like they're big and scary. Like, no, they're not scary. They're just like, they have personalities. They have, and most of them that you're going to meet, aren't going to try and like kill you or something.
Right.
So he was like, okay. So I've taken him to the barn a couple of times, and now he's actually like, the horse husband where he'll like hold a horse for me or, go feed them if I need him to feed.
Good.
So now he's more, like, happy about it, whereas before he was not. He's like, you could board your horses somewhere and we'll just buy a house, and I was like, it'd be better to have them at home than to try and board and pay, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds to board them somewhere versus having them here, and I can like control the expenses and, be able to see them every day to make sure they're okay. Yeah. Which we've had a couple, boarding experiences where it was, crazy things happen.
Yeah, I get it.
So, I get it. Just like, well, he was like, we got our property from a friend of mine. So it was a friend of mine, this is actually her mother's property. So our property is actually her mother's property, and she was getting out of horses because she was getting older. So she was like dealing with possible heart problems and just wasn't able to take care of the acreage and her horses here. So she was selling, and then my friend was like, hey, I heard you were looking for a horse property, it would be great if it stayed in horses, because they were worried that some developer would come in here and just develop a bunch of townhouses, because around us, it's just townhouses everywhere,
Yeah, that's a very valid concern.
Yeah, and we're the last rural area of Waldorf. So Waldorf is already, they're trying to make it the new, I guess, Clinton, Maryland. They're trying to like build it up more and have more housing, and our infrastructure can't really handle that, but that's what they're doing. They're trying to build it up and put more shopping centers and more houses. So we were all like, if a horse person moved in here, then that would be better. And we're right down the road actually from Dr. Mudd's Manor. So the whole like John Wilkes Booth like story and everything.
No,
No,
I
no.
don't. I'm sorry. I live under a rock.
So it's um the guy that assassinated Abraham Lincoln. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't gone
So they're
that far back
actually
in my mind.
yeah. I know it's like it's that far back. I guess this property like was part of the Dr. Mudd Manor, and that's where John Wilkes Booth got. He was like, "My leg's broken, and I need you to fix it at gunpoint." And
Mhm.
he ran away over here to have Dr. Mudd doctor him up, but that ended up with Dr. Mudd down in I think was it the down in Florida. It's the big like fortress like prison back in the colonial
Oh
era, I
my
guess.
goodness.
Yeah.
What
So he
history.
got sent there.
Wow,
Um,
wow. So your
yeah.
property is close to there. How many acres do you have for your horses?
So we officially own 3 acres, but then we share with our neighbors because they're also getting up in age. So they were like, well, we only have like 8 horses to their 18 acres, so we share fields. Like, they're like, she's, our neighbors are amazing. She was like, if you want like any of our side fields that are closer to your side of the property, you can have them. Like if you need an overflow area, which we usually do,
Yeah.
that's where we end up putting everyone is over on their side of the property. So
Hmm.
yep.
That is neat. That is neat. And
Oh,
what a beautiful opportunity to be connected to people who know what your vision is and can say, "Hey, we are trying to not only preserve the area that we're in, but
yep.
also I know someone who wants to bring it up." And I think that's one of the big things that is top of mind for me right now because they talk about how this decade is going to be one of the biggest wealth transfers for
Yep.
from one generation to another, and how much or how little of that wealth transference is land because of
Mhm.
either lack of planning or being bought out by private investors or companies or developers. um it's just so important to have those relationships so that land stays in the hands of people who are going to steward it and cultivate it. So I'm so glad that you have that experience and that opportunity to build on something that came from a relationship like that.
Yep.
So let's talk about the conservation of the breed
Mhm.
specifically. What does that look like at Falcon's Heritage Farm?
So at our farm, there's unfortunately like maybe I think they said like about 5,000 for like Spanish barbs out there right now. There are some that are overseas. So they've have sent horses like to Australia. There's a breeder there. There's breeders in England. Like there's people overseas, but they're in small numbers. So here we try to we're working with Valerie Carter. She's the breeder we work with, who I got most of Falcon's family. I found some strains that she has of his family. Like I actually have his nephew out in the field with him now. That's this guy.
No.
So so he's out there, and we kind of do kind of like a trade, where she's like, she knows that we don't have a lot of capital. So where we don't have a lot of capital, she doesn't have a lot of capital. So we kind of like do a give and take where
Bartering.
she sold me like a mare, and then she's like, if I need her for like such and such breeding season, then I'll give you another mare to breed lease. So then you can have like another foal. And then like last year we had my mare Star, and her aunt, which was Sonrisa, and that's his mom. So we had them here and would keep them for the duration of time that they were, holding, until like foaling time. So they would stay for the duration of time of foaling and then weaning, and then that's when the mares would be sent back to Virginia. So and then rebred and then come back here for the rest of like the foaling season.
Yeah.
So That's kind of what we do now. And I'm getting to the point where I'm able to work this guy who came from Valerie also. He's Choctaw strain, so he's the strain of Spanish Barbs that were bred by the Choctaw Nation to be
Mm-hmm.
like a good like cattle horse, traveling, like wagon pulling type breed. Anything and everything that they needed, they bred them to do that.
Yeah.
So he's also shows that willingness to please, like the versatility, like anything you ask of him, like I didn't even have to train him to lunge.
Yeah.
It's like I guess I had the thought in my mind, oh, this is how you're going to lunge, and he just like hooks onto that. It's so weird. It's like it's like teaching him to lunge was like very easy for him. Like he's like, oh, you just need me to go around in a circle and walk, trot, canter, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is
Very
nice.
easy to train. Like
Yeah. So what are you so I'm hearing that you've got land for mares to live out their gestation and deliver. Are you delivering foals yourself?
yes. So I was there for his birth. I
Oh,
know.
I love that so
I used to working for Wolf Creek Animal Hospital, or not Animal Hospital, but Equine Hospital.
much.
They like before them, I worked for a warm blood breeder, so I was able to get my hands on like the foaling aspect of things,
Mhm.
teaching weanlings, how to halter break them, and so I was able to get that experience. I know it's so much fun. I'm like sad we didn't have foals this year,
I
but
know. I sometimes say if money was not an object
yeah.
and I just was like a little feral woodland woman,
Yeah.
that would be what I just send them to. I only want them from like
Mm-hmm.
weanling
Yep.
to yearling. Like that's just my sweet spot in I will teach you things and then you'll go off and
Yep.
grow and somebody else can teach you the rest.
Yeah. That's pretty much what we do here. Just he ended up staying though because it's unfortunately not of any of his fault, but the sale fell through and he decided to go with another horse. So we ended up keeping him and retaining him for this year. And now I'm kind of debating: do I want to keep him or do we try to work him, train him up like as a 3-year old and sell him as a 3-year old or a 4-year old. So yeah,
Yeah.
like we I do like the foaling and then foals pretty much like the warm blood farm that I helped work there, and then having like the experience from Wolf Creek that kind of got us to the point where I could be there for my horse's delivery, and we have our vet on speed dial in case, because I'm usually like they're at their due date, like, so if
Hmm.
anything happens, you're gonna call in the middle of the night, it's me. Or probably everyone else during foaling season too.
Yeah, yeah. But it's good to have that relationship. So
Yeah.
hopefully they answer your call first.
Yeah.
So talk to me about some of the challenges of conservation, um, doing that on your own and expecting to offload some of the horses because unfortunately, even though you're conserving the breed, you can't keep them all.
I know.
So, what are some of your biggest challenges, whether it be financial, logistical, emotional?
I guess the challenges right actually I'm dealing with right now is the people. So it's not the horses. Like the horses are great. It's actually the people that like run the registry we're running into problems with. It's communication. So it's like trying to get people to communicate. It does like put a wrench in things. Like I possibly have right now at Valerie's 4 mares
Mm-hmm.
that are going to be in foal by either the spring or she's trying to breed them now, which is a later, much later than I'd like.
Yeah.
But that's what they do is usually they breed all the way from like February to November is their breeding like window. So as long as the mare is in heat, then they try to breed them because that was their it's like their way of like conserving the breed is to breed as many as can be bred in the year as possible
Mm,
to up the numbers. But we're kind of like more of a quality versus quantity
yeah.
mindset. So I like to pick and choose who's being bred and who's not. So like Star right now, she's taking a year break to become a riding horse. So she's actually at the vet I work for, she's at her house right now. So
Mm-hmm.
then I can like use her arena and be able to do everything there. And
Mm-hmm.
we have like our own facility, but it's just easier to like section them out to places. But the problem also logistics, our trailer's still in like the fixing side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So renting a trailer is like very expensive to move everyone around. I've had friends help, but we need a stock trailer usually because these horses, unfortunately, the old way of doing things is to like have them on the facility, but most of them are partially feral, maybe like lightly halter broke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so going to pick up these horses, it's like part of the logistics part where, you have to have a stock trailer so that way they can just get them into the trailer and you just close the door behind them and get
Mm-hmm.
down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So similar to
So,
BLM Mustangs, yeah.
so the horses that you're getting, are
Mhm.
you, I mean, because I know there's a difference between conservation and rescue. Are
Mhm.
you rescuing some
Yeah,
horses? No.
like
So the
these
horses that
guys,
you're
there's
referencing.
actually yeah, there's someone in Kelly Caldwell. She does rescues, Blue Raven Farms.
Oh,
So she
yeah.
does a rescue where she
Down
does
here
look
near me.
for this breed in particular at auctions, and then
Yeah.
she rescues them from the auctions. Yep.
Yes.
So that way they don't end up, in the slaughter pipeline.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the horses that you are, breeding, that's their only job at this point
Yeah,
is.
until I like Star, actually, I'm the one who started her. So
Hmm.
she lunges under saddle. All I have to do is now just belly over her and get her used to me, like behind her instead of in front of her,
Hmm.
and on her back and the weight of me on her back. So that's the only thing I have to do with her. But I bought her she's now 8, so I bought her as a 5-year old. So
Okay.
so she was unbroke 5-year old. She had a little bit of lunging done with her, but that was the only work she's ever done. So it was these. Valerie does a good job where she tries to like expose them to anything they need, at least to like the basic level. So they all have like good to get their feet done, good to like have vet work done. But they're not started under saddle and like actually competing. Though the stallions and some of the mares have gone up to like Falcon's sister actually went to Devon and won 16th place in a horse like in a class of like 30. So
Wow.
so it was pretty good. So some of them are out there competing. It's just
Mhm.
not enough, you know. So
Right.
not enough of the numbers are competing. They're more like out in pasture, and they're slightly halter broke just to have the farrier done and the vet done, and then that's it. And so Star actually, when we bought her and brought her home, that was the first time on a trailer for her.
Mhm.
And luckily, she was skeptical at first because she's like, "What is this box you're putting me in?"
Mhm.
And she just like looked at us. She's like, "Well, I trust you guys," and just jumped on the trailer.
Well,
And she's been
good.
pretty good like since then. So,
Yeah.
but
What
yeah.
do you have a lot of it is a lot of your work like educating the public and like outreach and just kind of talking about the importance of this breed and how the conservation practices that you are doing are supporting the development of the breed?
Not so much. When I was working for like the warm blood breeder, like that was when I was kind of like, oh, we could do, something to help like breed them with warm bloods possibly because you have American warm blood where they could like enter the warm blood, breeding system, the monster that's the warm blood, machine. But That actually, because I've talked with a couple of the breeders, like for the Spanish Barb, and they were like, "Yeah, that it wouldn't preserve the breed. Unfortunately, it would create more of like crosses upon crosses upon crosses upon
Right.
crosses, and then you
Right.
lose it. And that's how some of the older breeds like that helped America, become America that is today are gone now because they've
Uh-huh.
become crosses upon crosses. So,
Hmm.
um." There's a farm in Virginia, Mill Swamp Indian Horse farm is the farm that does more of like he does like summer camps. So he does like the big summer camps and it's all on Spanish Barb, Spanish Mustang. I think he has some Marsh Khakis and like I'm thinking he's getting Corolla horses now. So he's doing more of like that kind of thing where it's like more of a public relations. Like he's actually like
Yeah,
exposing kids
education.
to like this breed so that they fall in love with it and become the future breeders of the registry. Our farm unfortunately isn't big enough to do because I've thought about because I've been an instructor before. So I
Hmm.
was like, I could have a lesson program with just the Spanish barbs, and
Yeah.
that way it's kind of like creates that exposure for like younger generations to get into it.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a little bit. Brandon's like my husband, he's kind of like we could do it, but it'd have to be we need a bigger arena and we need like there's things that need to be done
Yeah.
where
Before that.
like possibly he was talking about a separate entryway so that way they're not using the private driveway because we do have like a horseshoe driveway so they could come through the other side and go straight to the barn. um and we've talked about a little bit here and there and I might actually if we get into it I could rent property.
Yeah,
There's a barn with an arena. Yeah.
that's it's still it's a lot,
I
right?
know.
It is a lot to go from some like a private operation to a public operation. I
Yeah.
completely understand that. And even you being on this podcast today, you know, is advocacy and education and
Mhm.
and showing up at the Black Equestrian Summer Bash was that's part of it, right? That
Yeah.
is the low lift work that is still promoting the work that you're doing. So, maybe smaller scale. Maybe
Yeah.
y'all it's some sort of smaller scale thing, but I'm always curious as to how people are sharing what they are passionate about and what they are curious about. But even as we
It's
go
like
ahead.
word of mouth for from
Mhm.
me anyway right now, just because or picked like the like on our page. I try to post all the pictures of the babies and the brood mares and just like showing them that breed. And even I think I did a write up for him. No, I showed a video. I was like for his strain of the Spanish Barb, the Choctaw Pony. Like
Mhm.
they have like a whole video on YouTube, so I shared like videos, articles, and things like that. But it's more of like, I think most of the impact that I am able to make is the word of mouth right now. Just because if I talk to people about it, they're like, "Oh, that's actually interesting," and it gets them looking it up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm curious. We talked a lot about the horses, and how your work kind of connects to the preservation of the breed. But I'm curious to know, as a Black equestrian, a Black horsewoman, as a woman in the horse industry, how have you navigated? Having this vision that a lot of people who look like you simply don't have. I mean, it's just a very unique niche. Um, and you have a vision for your farm where I'm sure you're in an area where there's not a lot of people who look like you. How are you navigating that?
Yeah, so I guess I kind of do where keep my support group with me. Nowadays, I'm kind of when I was younger, it did kind of hit hard. Like if I would go to a show and then would actually ride better than the of the people the colonizers is what we usually call them, but the other people, that
Yes.
group,
Yes.
I would ride better, and then I would notice that like they would still get like preference, over me, or like um I would get like weird questions, like how do you get into horses, like being you. And so you get the weird questions. And when I was younger, it would really like bother me because I'd be like, what do they mean, like me? How did I get horses? Or,
Mm-hmm.
don't I? There was one, oh my gosh, when I was in high school, someone asked, how do you have enough money to be doing this? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what?
The
And so
audacity.
I've had people like they've told me like, oh, because you're who you are, you'll never make it in this, in this industry. And like, and it kind of, when I was little, it would bother me, but now it's kind of where I've kind of have like, I guess, like the blinders on to the goal that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And and we change here and there when we need to adapt or, change something. But I kind of like shut my ears off now.
Yeah.
So if people like ask weird questions, or I don't entertain it anymore either, I
Right.
will just, yeah, I will just leave. Where I've
Yeah.
had like boarding situations where, what was it? Someone thought I was stealing from them. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to be here. There's other boarding facilities.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have any of your stuff. Like, I don't know why you think I would steal, other than, the
Mm-hmm.
color that I am, or I don't know, but you just leave, like,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
I found a better part in doing that. Because I never would, go somewhere worse, and I would always
Right.
look for what's better, what's out there. And I guess navigating when you're at full care facilities, it does, like, you have like a lot of people that are like milling about, and then you get the weird questions. And I found that if you're at like a self-care facility, it's less like that because they see how hard you're working too. So
Mm.
everyone's like hard working, trying to keep their horses like in good condition, and like riding and taking care of them. And they see like, oh, you're not like, someone who doesn't know anything that just got a
Right.
horse, or
Right.
because you're the color that you are, you don't know anything. But they see like the ethic, I guess, is
Yeah.
in like taking care of them. And what else? I'm like, it's just like the blinders. Luckily, like the registries have been good for the Spanish Barb. They're pretty open to anyone joining,
Mm-hmm.
because they need more people to join. So they're like, oh, if you know horses and you're, knowledgeable, then we want you here because we need it.
Yeah.
So they're looking, because the the older generation is where most of the horses come from, and they have like hundreds of horses that are pretty much just sitting, and they need us, like the younger generation, to take them somewhere. So that way
Mm-hmm.
they're like competing, and they're out there promoting the breed, and they're happy. Like, I actually won first place for they had a web, like the online show, and I was like so worried. I was worried. I was like, oh, they're gonna see me and be like, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got first and second place for the yearling, because it was for Dreamer. I had the yearling halter like
Mm-hmm.
video, like the halter class. So we just trotted around the arena, and then and do our walk around the arena, and that was it when we won first place and second place.
I love
So that
that.
was really cool. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, when what I hear you saying is that when it comes to knowing who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it, there is no one who can really influence those outcomes if you just really focus on what it is you're trying to do. And like you said, put the blinders on, shut the ears off,
Yep.
and only focus on the people who are there to support you. Like,
Yeah.
I met your family at the Black Equestrian Summer Bash, and as someone with also a very tight knit family, that just made my heart sing because my family shows up
Yeah.
at a lot of the things that I do as well. So whether it's your blood family or your chosen family, being able to have a base of support is really critical to making a lot of this work. Would you agree?
Which we wouldn't have our farm if, if my, like, I think, the universe, God, for my husband, because he's
Everybody up
so,
there. Hmm.
yeah, he's very tolerant
Hmm.
of like all the different animals, all the different, and he, like, before wasn't interested in learning because he's a technician, like IT guy. So, so he's very much like, I'm on the computers and I don't want to know anything about what's out there,
Yeah.
moving around or whatever.
Hmm.
So now he's more like, oh, like the sheep, like our sheep, that's his favorite thing now, is he loves the sheep.
Yeah.
So
Tell me
that's
about the sheep. I meant to ask about the sheep. What are you doing with sheep now? Are you shearing them for wool? What's
yeah.
happening?
So the sheep was another like sustainability, like because you go on livestock conservancy, those Spanish Barbs are on there too, so as like a critical endangered breed. So I went on their website and I was like, what can we do with being more sustainable, but also do something that I like to do, which is like art and crafts and stuff like that. And I learned how to spin, so I learned how to like spin wool and like actually make rugs, so I can make rugs.
We
And
are going to
I
talk,
know.
okay, because the way I am just itching to get an alpaca so bad,
Yep.
but I'm like, I need to have a plan on what I'm going to do after it's shorn,
Yep.
because,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Um,
okay, Tiombe knows.
with sheep, at least you can milk them, or we're trying to get now
True.
dairy ewes so that we can milk them, and then I can do like the sheep milk soap, or like
Yes, I have a
that's
friend who does
like
that with goats, with
yep.
Nubian goats. And
I
I'm
had
just,
a friend that she has goats, and she was like, "Oh, we should make goat milk soap," and then that was like, "Oh, sheep, you can do the same thing." So,
great. That's
so
great.
it's kind of like that's why we got into sheep, was the sustainability thing, and then I like crafting and and doing things with my hands. So I was like, I can spin wool, and if the world falls apart, we'll have sheep to make clothes.
I mean, between what they can produce and the actual meat,
Mm-hmm.
they
Which
are.
I'm still like
I know.
butcher
I am not saying
myself.
that
I
you would go.
can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying. I'm just saying if the world was about to end, not right now.
Yeah. Yep.
We might be a little, but not right now. We can deal with that
Yeah.
later. But for right now, they can be there for crafts. See,
Mhm.
I am so just on the same page.
Well,
Because I think that our generation, and this is something that really kind of sits on my heart because I have interviewed, you know, Gen Z all the way
mhm.
to boomers and Gen X. Like, I've interviewed such a spectrum of people, and as a millennial, like, it is our time to pick up the
Yeah.
torch. We are caring for our parents and our grandparents right now. Some of us are caring for children right now. We are that sandwich generation. And if we are going to pursue the things that we are so interested in, whether it be just horses, conserving land, sustainability, and survival, like, there's so much that we have to learn right now.
Yep.
And for people like you and me who have been interested in this for a lifetime,
Mhm.
some of those things come more natural. But for people just now getting into this or just now getting into why conservation and homesteading and at least knowing how to produce something
Yep.
that you can trade and barter with, you know,
Hmm.
that is harder for some people who are just now getting into this kind of lifestyle that we've known for quite some time. So I'm, in these interviews, I'm really hoping that people are saying, okay, the horses, you need land to have the horses. Okay.
Yep.
Like at the end of the day, you either
Yep.
have land or you have a bunch of money. And if you don't have a
Hmm.
bunch of money, you need to have the land so that you can do this and do other things on it, right? And create other streams of income for the farm to sustain the farm and actually do something that doesn't cause you to burn out and, put you in this corporate hamster wheel that is exhausting.
Yep.
So I'm so thankful that you shared so much about what it is you're doing at Falcon Heritage Farm and where you kind of, well, actually, that's going to be my next question. Where do you see yourself? I know that the world is a very special place right now. But what keeps us going is our vision for the future.
Yep.
So what is your vision for the future? I won't even put a time limit on it, but what is your vision for the work that you are doing on your farm?
Yep. So I guess where I see ourselves, like our farm, and like for the future is just sticking with like the sustainability part, like being able to sustain like producing food, producing like textiles from the sheep, if I have to. My mom's a seamstress, so she needs to teach me how to sew, but she you know she used to, when she was younger, she used to do for college, she would sell suits. Like she would sew a whole suit
Wow.
and just, yeah.
Wow.
So as I need to get her, sit her down and be like, teach me how to sew, like, because we need it. I mean, I need
Hmm.
that skill because then we could actually sell like actual, like, whole, like, I can weave so I can make shawls, but if if we have to, I'd have to make pants or, like, a shirt or something. So I want to keep with like the sustainability part. We do have chickens, we do have ducks, so on top of the sheep.
Hmm.
Um, we have I do want to keep with the chickens and ducks because eggs. My mom's allergic to chicken eggs, so that's why we got into ducks. So they are cute,
Okay. Okay.
They're very cute animals. They're very messy though.
Mm.
But we have the free range chickens and ducks. And we've thought about, if we weren't going to do sheep, we were going to get a cow or a mini cow. I was like, maybe not. So we're not getting cows. We're gonna stay with the sheep. Because they're dual purpose anyway. You can do like the milk and the wool, and then of course meat. And then I want to keep with like our horses, keep trying to get them out there. So Dreamer, he'll be where I can ride him soon. So right now he's 3 years old. This breed does develop slower, like Iberian breeds do. So they will like usually top out about like when they're 4 or 6 years old. So no, that's when they're fully developed. So I don't want to put my weight on him until he's much more filled out and much more, like, a little bit taller. I think he's gonna get a little taller.
Hmm.
But get them out there, keep competing. We're thinking of actually going into working equitation as our like discipline because they do better. It's built for the Iberian breeds anyway, and they do have that, like, the short coupledness and the
Hmm.
nice like the build for that sport, so that discipline.
Hmm.
And so we're thinking of going into that. So hopefully we'll be out there. At
Okay.
least with Star's 8 years old, so I can start her like going and hopefully be out there next year. And then I guess we've been talking with my parents just because, and also Brandon's parents, my in-laws. We've
Hmm.
been talking where maybe in the future there might be where they buy like a family compound type situation so
Yeah.
that we can, yeah, we can have more acreage, you know.
Yeah.
And my family, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, we should have like, maybe if we can find somewhere in Virginia, like 50 acres, and then their house is on one side and our house is on the other."
Yes.
So,
That is the goal, right? That
yeah.
that is I love it when you don't have to work too hard to get everyone else on board,
Yep.
okay? 'Cause we
It's
all
just getting
know.
them finalized into it, like,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's an idea right now. So they're like, "Oh, maybe," but then my mom's autoimmune, so she's like, "It has to be near a hospital. It can't be out in the middle of nowhere," you know.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
She is a nurse. She said, I
Mhm.
know what I need. I know what I need.
Yep.
What advice would you give someone who is looking to get into this industry? They may not have the community around them that you and I have come to develop, but they're just really interested in either exploring it, they're curious about it, or they have actually developed a passion for working with horses in any of the capacities that you shared. What advice would you give them?
I guess if I did it all again, um, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have gotten Falcon. I would have gotten Falcon, but I would have saved money back then. Now it's hard. Nowadays it's hard with inflation and everything, so we are kind of like, you know, luckily my husband has savings, but I'm paycheck to paycheck because I'm the one taking care of the animals most of the time, and he kind of picks up the slack if need be. So if I did it all again, I would have saved money beforehand to at least have some more cushion for in case like stuff goes wrong or you need to get to buy a horse, you need enough to both buy the horse and then take care of the horse. So
Buying the horse is the
so
cheapest part.
yeah, it's like it's that part of things. And even when I was younger, when I had Falcon, I was boarding him. I was also working at those barns, so I was kind of like, I'm working off the board, or um, the only barns I didn't work at, I was working at another barn.
Mm,
So, or working at the vet clinics, or like I was in between doing that. But I would give the next generation like more, like if your heart's set on something, try to go for that goal.
mhm,
um Even if you don't have the support group, like it's something that you're passionate about, go for what you're passionate about and try to try to I know we have to all be part into the workforce, right? So you have to get a job somewhere, even if it's like Target or Walmart or anything like that to start off.
mhm,
And but don't lose the vision, like don't lose the vision while you're there, because it's been hard. Like I used to work at Macy's, I used to work, before I got into like the veterinary stuff and the horses. I
mhm.
was like also working at Macy's, also working at like Books a Million because I love reading. So so I was able to go retail, but don't lose the vision of where you want to go, and don't get like lost in all the craziness that's happening nowadays. Oh my gosh, it's one day at a time, right?
That
Take
is
it one
so
day
true.
at a
That is so true. That is so true.
time.
I love that. Sometimes you have to get creative with how you're going to make it happen. But like you
Mhm.
said, hold that vision, pursue what you're passionate about, and prepare to screw up. But
Yep.
also, you know, we have to be resilient, right?
Mhm.
We have to be able to get back up and keep going. So that is a huge thing that we learn when we're in and around horses. So,
Yep. And also, like, just have like a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, because that's how like we're doing now. Is if things don't go right with like the breeder we're working with now, we're kind of like, well, we could just take the horses we have now and keep our breeding program going, because Star's unrelated to the two boys.
Mm-hmm.
So we could technically start on our own, but it's kind of like plan A, plan B, plan C.
Yeah.
Keep different plans just in case things do go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your wealth of knowledge with the Black in the Saddle family today. I'm so excited to just have such a unique perspective and pursuit on the podcast with breed conservation. How can the Black in the Saddle family get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your work and what you're doing?
Yeah, so I have, of course, my Facebook account on Tiombe Vaughan, and then there's also the farm account at Falcons Heritage Farm. And then I have our Instagram, which is also Falcons Heritage Farm. It's Falcons apostrophe us, because
Mm-hmm.
we've had where, people have gotten it confused a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Falcons Heritage Farm on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I try to post as much as I can. It's getting a routine. I need a routine where I'm able to like get the camera out there.
Yeah, I get it. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
So those are our socials is like Facebook, you can find us. It's all pretty much under Falcons Heritage Farm, or my name. And then I think that's about it, is just the Facebook, Instagram, and TikToks.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Of course. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Black in the Saddle. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcasting player and over on YouTube. You can also join us on Patreon. We started that new this year, and that is where the behind the scenes lives, okay? Behind the scenes of episodes, of events that we're planning this year, and much, much more. So I cannot wait to see you over there.